Hey up, hope you're doing alright. Before I start talking about the build, for those that aren't from the UK, or maybe those that don't know what I say, regardless of where you're from, in my intro, hey up is hello, and alright is alright. Like, hello, hope you're doing alright. I just thought I'd point that out because it's become my intro somehow without me really meaning for it to, and yeah, it's the first time you've ever heard anybody saying those words you might not necessarily know. And I just want to make sure that, I'm understood, and that if you do hear me say some funny sounding words or you think, what did she just say? Yeah, it's called being northern, there's no I can do about it. So with that out of the way, welcome back. And if it's your first time seeing a video of mine, hey up and welcome. So I decided to build a family-sized cottage, and guess what I used for the interior? The new Paranormal Stuff pack. I've been wanting to make an English-style cottage for a while, and this one kind of became its own thing. It's quite basic when you strip away the landscaping and the details on the exterior, but I had so much fun building this house. I originally wanted a small cottage, but when I was practicing the build before I hit record, I ended up changing my mind and went with a bigger build. That's like part of my process really. I mess around for a bit, maybe build the shell and the floor plan, and then I'll bulldoze it and do it all again like 5-6 times, just depends really. And then I'll actually start recording the video, otherwise it ends up being just a video of me building a house 10 times and then bulldozing it until I actually get an idea of what kind of shape and size that I want to do. So what do you think to the new pack? I really like it so far. I actually built the exterior and did the floor plan of this house before the pack was released, as I wanted to get a head start on, recording and editing. I was actually checking the Sims community website. They had a countdown on there for the release of the pack, and as soon as it got to 1 minute left, I closed the game and just kept closing and opening Origin so I could get it. I haven't had a chance to do any proper gameplay yet, but the build items, yeah, really nice, and the cast items are better than what I thought they were going to be, to be honest. I really like that mullet that comes with the pack, as I've said before. But yeah, there's some nice clothes overall, and I think it's quite a versatile pack too in terms of the build items. I made a few notes actually when I went through the items initially, just to collect my, my first impressions and my first thoughts. So my first note, not that it's a very long list, is that the wallpaper is stunning, and I put heart eyes emoji. Yeah, I wanted to use that wallpaper all over the house, to be honest. I think it's quite a versatile wallpaper as well. You can use it in, I have in a cottage style house, or you could maybe use it as an accent wall in a more modern interior. Yeah, I think it just looks really good, and the swatches are really nice as well. My second note is that the 3-seater settee is amazing, but could do with more plain swatches. But also make more settees with cushions, or couches with cushions. I struggled with choosing a swatch when I first placed it, because every swatch is really nice on it. Usually there's always that one swatch where I'm why have you done this? But yeah, I like every single swatch on that settee. My third note is that Bonehilda has got weird eyes, so yeah, put that. I didn't really play with her that much. I summoned her at the end, and you'll see that in the house tour. You've probably already seen pictures of her or maybe videos of her. I just think she looks a bit odd. I said this in my last video, but there's just something about her eyes that, yeah, it just looks a bit weird. If they just made her eyes look a bit less, I don't know. It's hard for me to describe it. It's hard for me to read facial expressions on real life human beings, never mind trying to read the facial expression of a skeletal maid. But yeah, there's just something off about her face that looks a bit, yeah, just a bit off is what I'll say. And my fourth and final note is that I want a mini cow plant in real life. I mean, what else can you say about that one? But yeah, I really like the pack. Like I said, I haven't done much gameplay, but so far I've enjoyed it. I didn't record the building of the kitchen just because not much really went into it. I didn't use that many items from the pack anyway, like there's no new counters or appliances or anything like that, and it's just a basic kitchen, so I thought it might just be a bit boring to watch. But please let me know in the comments if you prefer the entire build being shown, or if you don't mind me cutting things out that I see is quite boring. The focus on the house is clearly like the living area and the séance room, so a lot of my attention went into that and the landscaping. I did another pond, but with a bit more detail this time. Oh, and this build uses items from Get Together, Base Game, and of course Paranormal Stuff. I used Get Together because I felt like the items from the pack suited Cottage like the most. I wanted to use that sparkly water that you get as well with that pack on the pond, and some of the pictures, those like old, I don't know what they're called, they're like portraits of, like, it's like Madam something or Lady something. I'm sure you'll know what I mean, but I used that. I don't have the vampires pack, and I probably never will just because it's not something that interests me at all, but I have seen a lot of other people like combining that, using vampires with this pack, which, you know, it makes sense. They do kind of go together, especially if you're making like a haunted house or a haunted lot. I've seen some really amazing builds actually using those packs. Plumbella did one, and yeah, I think I watched her video like 3 times. Once I was like watching it for the build, and then I had to like rewind it because I stopped watching it and just was sat listening to it, because during the video I just felt like I related to so much of what she said. So I watched it again to actually see the build, and then again I just found myself like listening, and then I'd read the comments and see if other people were relating to what she said and see what other people thought. And I got quite emotional, to be honest. Yeah, it was just interesting to see other people's kind of perspective and experiences. Yeah, so yeah, go watch her video after this, and it's just a good video in general. And I think it's good to kind of get a perspective on what it's like being neurodivergent, even if you're not neurodivergent, if you're a neurotypical person. I think it's always good to kind of get an understanding on what other people like live like and what it's like. I think the video is titled EA Are Really Flirting With Me. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's called that. If you watched my last video, what did you think to it? Did you think that I have an unhealthy obsession with a fictional pixelated character? Or maybe it's justified? I don't know. Did you like the build? I really enjoyed making that one, and it's nice to get feedback, so let me know what you think. Or if you haven't watched it and you like Stardew Valley, or even if you don't, you might like the build. The gallery picture of it though, oh, that annoyed me so much. It ruined the picture. It was like a big fat bush or a tree or whatever it was. I just couldn't believe it. That's why they need to update the gallery so that you can pick from a choice of screenshots, but be right, it's done now, innit? So yeah, like I said, I built another pond. It's similar to the one in my last build, but just a bit bigger with more plants and details to it. I almost built a waterfall, but I've not done one before, and I just thought that maybe that's just a bit too ambitious, and it might have been a bit too much for this build. It's not that big of a lot, and I wanted to leave a bit of outdoor space for the Sims to use. I actually forgot to put a climbing frame in, but I might add one after I've done my voiceover, just because I think it would make a nice addition to the outside. I did a tour again rather than just screenshots. It takes a little bit longer to set up, but I thought it really added to the last video, and it gives you more of an idea of the house being used. I also included some footage of Bonehilda because why not? I've got to say though, I'm not that keen on her voice. It's a small gripe to have, but I just think it sounded, I don't know, it just weren't what I expected, I think. I don't remember what she sounded like in The Sims 2. In The Sims 1, I don't think she had a voice, and I didn't play The Sims 3 Supernatural, so I'm not sure what she sounded like in that. But, I don't know, it just sounded, again, just a bit off, not what I expected. I've read, though, as well, that it's not actually the same Bonehilda that we had in the other games. In, like, The Sims 1, 2 and 3, Bonehilda is her own, like, thing. She's her own NPC. Whereas in The Sims 4, she's just a human sim in a costume. Which, it's not really, like, that's not what she is. She isn't a human dressed up. She's not a sim dressed up. She's her own character. She's such an iconic NPC to be reduced to that. I don't know, just no coffin either, which I personally don't really mind that there's no coffin. I like the idea that she's summoned using the seance table. The coffin is a little bit of an eyesore. It does kind of look out of place depending on like what kind of build style you use and what house you use it in. But I think they should have included it as an option at least for like the nostalgia, especially for those that, you know, really want Bonehilda and they've wanted her for a long time. And the Sims team know how much she's loved by the community, especially those that played the other Sims games. Like if this is the first time you've encountered her, if you've only played The Sims 4, probably not even that bothered, or you're not as bothered, or, you know, maybe you are excited about Bonehilda and you're going off maybe the hype of her and other players go on about how great she is and all that, so maybe that's what makes you interested in her. But I think especially for those that really love that character, it's just a bit disappointing to see that that's what we've got. And I've seen quite a few people talk about how they're disappointed that that's how she is, that she's just this human in a costume. And no coffin as well. So yeah, but it's a bit of a running theme, isn't it really? Just kind of having to make do with what we've got. So as you can see, I'm doing the living area and the seance room now. I end up adding a dining table here too as well, which I don't actually record, but I forgot to place one or even like consider it when I was building it. It was being a little bit glitchy as well when I play tested it. I think it's because of the distance between the table and the sink and a bin. It wasn't allowing me to like clean up the plates when the Sims had finished eating. I had to drag and drop them like by myself, but I might open up that door that leads into the living room and just have it as like an open doorway and see if that fixes it, or maybe move the sink and the bin around. Yeah, see if that fixes the issue. I was just looking at my last video as well to see if the auto-generated captions work with my accent. Yeah, and they do alright really. There's a few odd words where it captions it wrong. At the start of the video I say like this build uses items from Snowy Escape, Outdoor Retreat and Base Game, and the auto captions say bare skin instead of base game. So yeah, that's pretty funny to me, but I was surprised that it did so well. Whenever I use voice recognition software, like if you use Google or Alexa or whatever, it never knows what I'm saying. I have to speak really slowly. When I'm on the PlayStation, sometimes it picks up that I've said the word PlayStation. So you'll say like, PlayStation, play Minecraft, and it'll like do it as like a voice command. But it always picks up that I've said PlayStation, ready to tell it what to do. But I haven't even said anything that sounds like PlayStation, or at least to me anyway. But then if I were to actually say, PlayStation, play Minecraft, it wouldn't, you know, crickets, there would be nothing, it wouldn't even pick it up. That actually just reminded me while I was talking about that. When I was little, I played Nintendogs, and oh my god, I used to get frustrated to the point of tears with that game. If you played it, you might know what I mean. But getting your dog to learn the command, like, lay down, when I would say it like, lay down, like in my accent. Oh my god, I used to get so wound up over it. I'd be like, lay down, like shouting at it. But even with like recording videos, I do try and make sure that I'm speaking clearly and I'm not speaking too fast and not using too many slang words. I go on like I've got like a really obscure accent, like I'm from Mars or something and no one's ever heard a Yorkshire accent before. I mean, that's all it is, it's just a Yorkshire accent, but you never know who could be watching, do you? And I want to make sure that I'm understood by everybody. Yorkshire folk speak quite fast anyway, and add that with my neurodivergent brain, and when I get going, it's like I'm on fast forward, especially when I'm talking about something that I'm excited or I'm interested about. So I like to make sure that I'm not speaking too fast. I added this little conservatory thing to the build as well, as I felt like the shape of it was just a bit plain. So I wanted an area that could either be an office or maybe an indoor garden or even like a laundry room. I chose to add a sitting area with some music, as the Sims I had in mind for this build are just into like sitting about listening to music and like looking out into the garden. But you could do whatever you wanted here really. I also made a small playroom which you could change into anything you wanted really. I didn't go too overboard with furnishing the upstairs or really any of the rooms that are not that living area. just because I'd spent so much time landscaping, I didn't want too much going into the rest of the house. Sometimes having a lot of stuff going on the outside as well as the inside can make the game a little bit laggy. If you play on console and have quite a few of the packs, or even if you haven't, you might know what I mean. When I played on console, having a house with more than 2 Sims, lots of landscaping, lots of items, the weather with seasons, all the gameplay, it was just too much. It was unplayable, like I've said before. I've mentioned this before about the console versions, at least in my experience on the PS4, it's at the point now where it's like how The Sims 3 was, 20-minute load screen, and if you do play for a while, or if you're doing a bit too much, the game crashes, which is obviously disappointing because there's still at least another year or 2 of The Sims 4 before we get The Sims 5, and I'm sure there'll be more packs. And if you play on console and you're struggling with crashes and laggy gameplay now, then you're not going to be able to enjoy the packs that come out in the future. I don't know how it runs on the Xbox or on the Pro machines or the PS4 Pro, but I've read articles about how it's really laggy and slow on console, so if it doesn't affect you and you don't have any issues, then obviously that's really great and that's quite lucky. So yeah, I didn't want to go too overboard with the interior, just to make sure it's playable for everyone. You'll notice as well that in the bedrooms there's one wall that's not got any wallpaper on it. I don't know why this happened, but I've had it before when using the half-gabled roof pieces. I can't remember how I fixed it last time. I think I just got lucky with it. It doesn't happen on the other side, so I'm not really sure how to fix it. But if you do know how to fix it, please let me know in the comments. Also, let me know what type of build you'd like to see next. I'm thinking of doing an apartment maybe, using a range of items from different packs. I do try to limit myself to 2 or 3 packs at the most so that people can download them and play with them. I've got an apartment on the gallery that I might even do a speed build for and just rebuild it, or maybe I'll create something new. I'm not too sure just yet. So yeah, let me know what you'd like to see me build in the comments. I don't get too many comments, but I do get suggestions on Instagram, so if you'd like to follow me on there, my handle is SimsHutchYT, and I'll put a link in the description as well. But I might even do a poll on my Instagram and just see kind of which is preferred. So yeah, thanks a lot for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave a like if you did, and I'll see you later. Bye!